I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. Today's show has a somewhat ominous title because we're entering a period of time in the next week when the aspects can be very harsh among the planets, and that's why the title of tonight's show is, excuse me, is Past the Point of No Return. And that means that there can be, due to these very harsh planetary aspects, there can be someone around, even perhaps a woman or maybe more than one, who is quite forceful and demanding, but there can be a person who is not able to pay off their debts or return any favors that they owe. And I'll tell you why. It is because right now, today, we are entering at least a week's period of time when there are going to be 5 planets in the fixed signs in a harsh grand cross, and that includes the 2 financial signs. So we know there's going to be trouble about money somewhere. And then there are another 4 planets in the mutable signs that are in a harsh T-cross. And mutable signs generally get along with people. Well, they're not doing that right now. So we can see that people can be in conflict just by their attitudes, but they can also be facing some point of no return due to the fact that they've taken a giant gamble and lost. And there's no way that they can repay their debts or the favors they may owe someone else. And so let me explain why. First of all, there's only one planet that is at the 29th degree of fate, and it is the Sun today. And it is at 29 degrees of Scorpio, a fixed financial sign. And so Scorpio rules credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, grants, or money coming in from any other source or going out. And so with the Sun at the 29th degree, someone is, and we say that any planet that's at the 29th degree indicates that something is either on or over. I would say under the harsh aspects that Sun in Scorpio is facing, something is really over. And it has to do with a financial matter because the Sun is in a financial sign. But that's only the beginning of the story. And that is because that Sun in Scorpio is opposing rather closely Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is a malefic planet ruling sudden surprising change. It's in the other fixed financial sign, Taurus, which rules your investments, and it rules high-priced materials or property or good food and wine. It certainly rules the good life, particularly if it involves high-priced things or your investments. Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange, for instance. But Uranus is a planet of sudden volatility and surprising change. That's why it's called a malefic planet. You can't depend on it. And it is opposing the Sun in Scorpio. So we can be looking at somebody who is past the point of no return in a financial matter because these planets are in financial signs. But it gets a little worse than that now because there is a grand cross. And that means that there are planets in all 4 of the fixed signs. And so at Mars today and the Moon, the other light, are in Leo, and they are squaring that Sun in Scorpio, leading to indecision or confusion. And they are also squaring that Uranus in Taurus. And Mars is one malefic planet, Uranus is another. They're in very harsh aspects, which can indicate severe challenges, particularly about leadership issues or financial matters, because Leo rules leadership. But Leo also rules gambling. And Mars is there, conjuncting the Moon. The Moon rules women. There can be a woman who has lost a great big gamble. And there's no way, she's past the point of return. There's no way that she can cover her gamble or pay back her debts or even pay back favors that people may have done for her. That's just not going to happen. And the reason why, besides the conflict in financial affairs is that Pluto has now moved into Aquarius, the 4th fixed sign, and it is a fixed air sign. And Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and it is strongly opposing that Mars in Leo at only 4 degrees. So they're going head to head. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, where that sun is squaring, it's squaring Pluto, and it's at the 29th degree of fate in Scorpio, and it's squaring Mars and the moon, and it's opposing Uranus in Taurus. These aspects are so harsh just in the fixed signs. Okay, that's only 5 planets. There's more planets that are having problems, but just the 5 in the fixed signs. These aspects are so harsh, particularly since the sun's at the 29th degree of Scorpio, meaning something is on or over. It means that someone, either a very aggressive man or a woman who is sort of arrogant, thinks she should have everything her own way, because the moon and Mars are conjuncting each other. They've just run out of rope. They have nobody else they can borrow money from. They have nobody who will lend them money, and it is because nobody has any confidence in their future. Their future is over. They're past the point of no return. This doesn't mean something disastrous that may happen to their health or anything, but it's sure going to happen to the health of their budget, which is sort of kaput. And this could even involve the leader of a nation. And so if somebody was, say, going to war, Scorpio rules war, and had sort of blown their money on a war, and were no closer to winning it than they had been before, but they're a lot poorer for it by now, they too have reached a point of no return. And they can't do anything about it. And so I'm talking about people who have gambled really big and lost. So if that's not you, then what you really need to do for everybody is, if you have any bills or any debt, try to pay that off before you do anything else. And the reason why is Scorpio rules debt. And the sun is at the 29th degree of Scorpio, squaring and opposing all of these planets that are in the fixed signs. Well, there's another group of planets that are having problems, and they are in the mutable signs. And so we have Jupiter in Gemini, and it is retrograde, and it is opposing Mercury in Sagittarius. And the problem is that Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Mercury rules Gemini. These planets are backward. They're opposing the signs they rule. That means they are not at their strongest right now, and they are being squared by Saturn, which is now direct in Pisces. Saturn was retrograde for a long, long time, and it is now direct. It's moving ahead. It's a slow planet. It's going to be in Pisces for at least another year, but Saturn is the planet of time. And so Saturn is squaring Jupiter in Gemini, and so is Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and they are both squaring Mercury in Sagittarius as well. And so people who are normally mild-mannered and can see other people's points of view are not willing to do that right now. Now, it may be that for quite a long time they endured that. Okay, they were willing to sort of go along with others. They're not so willing to do that anymore, particularly since Saturn went direct. Because Saturn is a planet that rules Capricorn, it rules your 10th house of career, and it rules your public reputation, and it rules your long-term security. And if you haven't been doing the things that you said you were doing, you could be past the point of no return right now. Because there could certainly be some sort of financial transaction that is a little bogus or a little bit funny, or it could be somewhere where there was a secret around that involved the misappropriation of funds. And that is because these planets are squaring each other, and it's also because the 5 planets in the fixed signs, which include the 2 financial signs, are in harsh opposition as well. And so if there's any funny business going on in anybody's life, it's probably going to come out now. It may not come out today, But this is a week that you just got to smile at people and hope you get through it, because there are forces that are not congenial at all. But it seems to me that if you're a person who doesn't have a lot of debt and you have been working hard, and you don't have an overblown ego, or you're not trying to overtake another country, you're just trying to be a good person, I think you probably don't have much to worry about. But it's going to be the people who thought that they could rule the world, or the people who were power hungry, or the people who had arrogant attitudes. Remember that Mars, which rules arrogance, is conjuncting the moon, which rules our feelings, and particularly it rules women. So it can be that since these two planets are in Leo, which rules leadership, that there's going to be a pretty drastic change in leadership. And it may be based on the fact that there's fraudulent information that comes to light from behind the scenes. So anyway, this is a time when somebody is actually past the point of no return. They have taken such a big gamble and they've lost so much money that there is no way that they can repay it. And it means they can't repay not only the money they owe or that they've already spent, but they can't repay the favors that they owe to people either. And so this could be a sort of a strong-willed woman, that's Mars conjunct the moon, or else this could be a man with very strong feelings that wants to go to war. Mars rules war, and the moon rules our feelings, and they've lost. And so if that's not you, count yourself lucky. But at the same time, I wouldn't go looking for an argument this week if I was you. I would avoid that at all costs. It looks to me as if nobody's going to win an argument in the next week. In a Grand Cross, nobody wins. Okay, and that's just 5 planets. There's another 4 planets that aren't getting along in a harsh T-cross in the Mutable Signs. There's only 1 planet in a cardinal sign. It's a good one, though. It's Venus in Capricorn. So actually, if you've been working hard and you're good at your job and you have a good reputation in the community and you're getting ready to retire, these are all the things that Capricorn rules, you could do that pretty well right now since Venus is in Capricorn. But that's about the only bright spot in the whole universe right now. And so that does sort of mean that if you've been trying to do your best the right way, you could be rewarded for that now. Maybe you could get promoted. Maybe there will be a new position created for you because people know they can trust you, or they know that you're reliable, or they know you've been at something a long time and you really do know what you're doing, and you've got proof of it. So those things could help you right now, but they would be passed. They would be based on a long record of duty and achievement. And so there wouldn't be anything fake about it. There wouldn't be any hidden secrets about misappropriation of funds or anything like that. So I think the good shall survive and everyone else is going to have a bad week is what I think. So I hope you're on the good side. Okay, what does this mean to all the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, what it means is, yes, your ruler Mars is in Leo, trining your sun, but it is conjuncting the moon today. And Mars rules aggression and energy and enthusiasm and control and dominance, particularly since it's in Leo, which rules leadership. And yet it's coming up against the gentle moon, which rules our feelings and rules women and rules our homes and our families. And so, Aries, these planets in Leo are trining your sun, but they are undergoing such severe challenges from the other planets in the fixed signs that are all squaring or opposing them, that if you were counting on somebody to jump in and help you make a new beginning right now, I would say it's not going to happen as quick as you think. And that's because they're having problems. It might not be that you're having problems, Aries, but somebody else is. And something's not going to work out. And so if you had been, say, counting on a loan or something like that, I don't think that's going to work out. Or if you were planning to make some wonderful purchase right now, but the value of your investments has fallen for one reason or another, then of course your plans will not go through. So you could be thinking that you're sort of on the edge of being on, past the point of no return, but you don't need to be, Aries. What you need to do is step back and think a little bit more of how you want to proceed in the future. And that would be worthwhile for you, Aries, and the reason why is because Pluto has just moved into Aquarius, but it was in Capricorn for years, always squaring your sun. And you may have felt like you could never get ahead on your own because somebody in a higher position was challenging you. Well, that Pluto now has moved into a sextile of your sun. It's in Aquarius now. That sextile is your sun. And Saturn and Neptune and Pisces are right behind your sun. You need to sit down just by yourself right now, Aries, and I would not charge forward right now. I think you just might be walking into trouble. Well, don't do that. A lot of people could be doing that. Instead, why don't you start to think a little bit more of how to gather your forces together to create some element of power that you yourself are in control of. And I think that this, even if you need advice from somebody else who's pretty powerful, that would be a good way to go. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, you can take advantage of the good advice or the good feelings that other people in upper management can have toward you. You might be a little bit surprised that they're a little bit more willing to help you than they had been in the past. And it is because Pluto has just changed signs. And it's just going to be slow going, but you could attract one or two powerful people to you if you really got your plans together in the future, Aries. But if you're wanting to be number one right now, I don't think you're going to have many takers. The tensions are too heavy right now in relationships. And so you should just sit back and now do a little careful planning of your own. And particularly make a list of influential people that you would like to contact. You may not be able to do it as we head into the holidays. But remember that you could advance your own ideas, Aries, little by little right now. As long as you do not want to be the kingpin or you want to be head of something. I don't think that's going to work right now. Either because there's not enough money for that right now, or because there are not enough other people to sort of jump on your bandwagon right now. They have troubles of their own. Okay, so give it a try. Just a little bit better preparation over the holidays would do you a lot of good. And the reason why, Aries, is because there is another eclipse in your sign in the spring of 2025. But you're not ready for it. So now's a good time to start getting ready. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time, Taurus, when I'm going to be real surprised if you're not losing some money. Now, you could say, well, I'm not doing anything to lose money. Maybe you're not overspending, or maybe you're not in debt. But if you are invested in anything and the value of the investments goes down, that is not due to anything you did, but it could still go down. And so that would tend to make you a little bit poorer, at least on paper. And so you'd have to be a little bit careful what you do with your money right now, Taurus. And if I were you, I would do nothing. And the reason why is there are too many planets in the fixed signs, including the fixed financial signs, of which your sign is one of them. And the aspects are so harsh that I don't think maybe Aquarius could get ahead. I don't think anybody else in a fixed sign can make it right now. There's too much pressure, too much conflict around. And Taurus, your sign likes to do sort of the same old thing. Taurus doesn't mind being in a rut because they're comfortable there and they work hard for their money, and then they like to spend it on their creature comforts. Well, that makes sense. But the problem is that you have Uranus in your sign, and it'll be in your sign for another year, Taurus. And so you really are going to have to back up a little bit in your life. And the reason why is that Pluto has now moved into Aquarius, and it is going to be squaring your sun for many, many years to come. But for the next year, it will be squaring Uranus in your sign, and Uranus rules Aquarius. So that ruler is not too happy squaring the sign it rules. It's been doing that for 6 years. It's got 1 more year left of it. That'll affect your finances. And on top of that, right now, Mars, another malefic planet, and the moon, which it's conjuncting the moon right now, are also squaring Uranus in your sign. Well, Mars is one malefic planet and Uranus is the other, and the moon rules our feelings, and particularly women. You may be having a fight either with another woman or a very forceful man, sort of an arrogant man, or somebody who's on the march, wants to take over in one way or another, or is at war somehow. You could be coming up against people like that. And that could affect your finances too. This is a very important time for you, Taurus, not to open your mouth, not to make enemies, because they're looking for you. They're looking for a target. And a Taurus is pretty tough. They can take a lot of trouble, but that would simply wear you out right now and you wouldn't end up winning. There's a Grand Cross in fixed signs. Nobody wins. And so that's why I'm urging you, do not ruffle anybody else's feathers, and if your feathers get ruffled, do not let anybody know that. If you wanted to succeed at something, you're going to have to look over your money really carefully, and then no matter what your plans are right now, Taurus, and even if you say, well, I've got the money to do this, I would say, think twice, because you might have the money to do what you want to do right now. But do you have enough money somewhere else to handle anything that comes up in an unexpected way? Because you have the planet of sudden surprising change, Uranus, in your sign, being horribly aspected right now. And so you need extra financial reserves. Don't spend your last dollar right now. There would not be another one coming. So you need to be really, really careful. And the reason why is the sun is in the other fixed financial sign, Scorpio, and it is the only one that's at the 29th degree of fate, closely opposing Uranus in your sign. There's got to be some additional taxes that you might have to pay, Taurus, or there can be some money that is in contention right now, or maybe not as much as you thought it would be, or maybe there are some additional debts around you didn't know about that possibly you have to cover instead. Even if they weren't your debts, maybe you still have to cover them. And so you need to be very, very careful. This is not the right time for you to spend your last dollar, Taurus. This is not the right time for you to be spending anything. And the reason why is because there is no way to allow for the unexpected. And you've got the planet of surprise in your sign, and it's being horribly aspected right now. In a Grand Cross in fixed signs, nobody wins. You could withdraw from something. You could decide not to spend money on something. I think that's sort of a wise choice of yours right now. And also, Taurus, a Taurus is generally not down to their last dollar, or they know where the next one's coming from. So you can afford to wait. That's what I'm telling you. And these times are so tenuous as far as finances go, that nobody should take a gamble, because the people that have already spent a lot of money on gambles have lost. Okay, so they're done for. They're past the point of no return. And all I'm saying, Taurus, is try to make sure that's not you, because you might be vulnerable to something like that. So be real careful and keep your hands in your pocket. Don't spend money now. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, remember I said the problem in the mutable signs, one of the problems, is that two rulers are backwards. They're opposing the signs they rule. Well, that's happening to you, Gemini, and it's your ruler. Because Jupiter is in your sign. That's wonderful. It is now being trined by Pluto in Aquarius. You have some powerful people, or some people with a lot of good experience, or maybe even good advice, that can be attracted to you, or you can seek them out and get good advice from them right now. You could pick up some new partners if you wanted to. Or I think it is, Gemini, that other people are more interested in what you do or how you do it than you think. And if you have a lot of experience at something, somebody knows a little more about that than you think, and they could be very attracted to you. And you could even get a new job offer right now. But the problem is there could be a mix-up in communications at the same time, particularly over the holidays, because Jupiter is in your sign, yes, and it is being tried by Pluto, which is wonderful for you, but it is opposing the sign it rules. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And what's in Sagittarius? Your ruler, Gemini, Mercury, and it's opposing your sign. And these rulers are backwards. So you could have some communications that are a little bit backwards, or what I think, Gemini, is that there could be a communication that should have reached you by now, but it has been delayed. Or it would have already been delayed, or there's just something where there's mixed messages, and either you're not getting the message, or they didn't send it the right way, or there's something wrong there. And so try not to get impatient. Now that Pluto is trining your sun, you will be able to get some very good advice from somebody. If you have questions that you want answered, you'll find the right person to answer them. That'll work out just fine. And that's something that will continue and grow. You could begin to make some very useful contacts that would be useful for about the next 15 to 20 years. It would be very good for you. This is not a time to sit home. It's a time to get out and make some contact with, at least with people that you are drawn to or that you like. You should, even if you're only going for a walk or taking them to coffee or whatever, that will tend to do you more good than you think in the next 15 or 20 years, the whole time that Pluto is trining your sun. Little by little, things will turn out quite well for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, there are 2 planets right now, or 3 planets actually, that are trining your sun, which is good. That means that your sun sign has support. One of them is the sun itself at 29 degrees of Scorpio, and it is trining your sign. And then there are 2 more planets, Saturn, which is now direct in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces, which are both trining your sun. Okay, so your sign has backup, Cancer. Now, if ever there was a time when you needed backup, Cancer, it is right about now. And the reason why is that your ruler, we always have to look at what's happening to the rulers of a sign to know how things are going to turn out. And your ruler, the moon, is closely conjuncting Mars, a planet of destruction, jealousy, envy, greed, arrogance, you name it. A war, Mars rules war, and being impetuous and impulsive and demanding. Okay, so Mars is a real go-getter planet, and it is conjuncting your ruler, which is very passive, very nice, gets along with a lot of people. The moon rules the tides. They're pretty predictable. Cancers just sort of go along. It's a cardinal sign. And so you have backup, but your ruler is in trouble. And it doesn't look to me like there's any way to get out of it. Mars is conjuncting the moon. Okay, it's at 4 degrees. Right now, today, the moon is at 12 degrees in Leo. That means Mars is going to come up and hit the moon exactly. And the moon's a very fast mover. It's a zoomer. It only takes 2.5 days to go through a sign. But still, it's under a lot of pressure because it's in a fixed sign, and there's 5 planets in fixed signs, all squaring and opposing each other. So somewhere in your feelings, or in your home, or in a family situation, the things your sun sign rules, you are torn about something, or things are not the way you wish they were. And it's due to somebody else who wants to take control, or somebody else who wants to dominate, or somebody else who just wants to be the boss and tell you what to do. And you don't need that, Cancer. And you have backup. The sun in Scorpio at the 29th degree is trining your sun sign. That means there is definitely some more money around for you, Cancer, somewhere. And I don't know if it's an income tax refund, or if it's an inheritance, or it's an insurance payment, or it's simply that you don't have any debt. That would be great. But there can be some more money around for you, Cancer. And if that money could help buy you a little quiet time where you wouldn't have to put up with arrogant people that want to tell you what to do, if you could possibly get away from those people, Cancer, you'd probably have a pretty good Christmas. You know, Cancers like their home. They like good cooking. They are good cooks. But also, you know, it's pretty nice to walk into a home where somebody's just getting some fresh food out of the oven because it smells delicious. So, you know, simple things make a Cancer happy. And I would stick to that, Cancer. If you can enjoy something simple that'll make you happy right now, or people that you just like and you want to do something simple with, this is a good time to do that. But if you are coming up against people that are really rubbing you the wrong way, get out of there. You don't need them. And on top of that, they want to rub you the wrong way. So they are not your best friends. And so just leave them high and dry, Cancer. You have a right to your own happiness. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you could really be supercharged right now because Mars is in your sign and it is conjuncting the moon. Your feelings could be quite stirred up right now. You could be feeling vehement, even warlike about something. You could be convinced you're right about something. And on top of that, it's something that has to do with finances or financial matters in one way or another. And the reason why is that the moon and Mars are in your sign, yes, but they are being opposed by that Pluto, which just went into Aquarius. Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for years to come. It'll go retrograde a little bit at times, but it's going to be years and years to come that it will be opposing your sun sign, Leo. You're going to have to reinvent what your role is in life and try to find ways to be useful and happy without any former role that you used to play, because it's not going to be there. You may have done your finest work on something already. So you may be saying to yourself, well, I already did that. I don't want to continue doing that. I'm going to take it easy now. Well, that could happen. That could happen, that would go on. Because people in powerful positions may not select you, particularly not for things that you used to do. Simply because they're more interested in futuristic things and not in repeating the past. And it doesn't have anything to do with you personally. It's simply that they want to go in a different direction, and you probably don't want to do that. And so Mars and the moon are stirring you up. Pluto is opposing your sun sign. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. It's you that could be a little bit past a point of no return, Leo, on something that involves a financial affair. Now, at the very worst, I'm sorry to say, it could be something where you owe a lot more taxes right now, and maybe the value of your investments has fallen. So it'd be a little bit hard to, you might have to sell some things that you weren't planning on selling just in order to pay more taxes. Or since your sign rules gambling, you may have taken a big gamble and you could be real unhappy with the results right now. You would be very unhappy with the results. Somebody else is pretty unhappy with the results too. And so you're not seeing eye to eye with those people. And then that sun in Scorpio at the 29th degree of fate is squaring the two planets in your sign, Leo. And that means there is a financial matter, even from the past, that, if you're thinking that somebody owes you more money, you're not going to get it. And either you drop the argument or you just write it off because the money's not coming. And it's funny, but they have lived a life of getting what they want, and they're not going to listen to you. And it isn't so much what you say, Leo, or what you do. It's the attitude of the people you're dealing with is simply not going to change. It's like no matter, even if you were screaming at them, they don't hear you. Because they're just not coming from a conciliatory attitude. They don't have it. And so you may have made a mistake in who you trusted. And you're finding out the hard way about that right now. If you're not finding out the hard way about it right now, you either have found out in the past or you're about to. And, you know, I don't think you can get out of a bad situation right now. But on the other hand, the stars don't rule us. We have free will. And you can go into the holidays. You can sail into the holidays, Leo. Mercury in Sagittarius is trining your sun. You could hear some good news from people that are living in a foreign country. Or good news about school. Maybe if you want to go back to college or something. Those things would work out. But as far as you dealing with people that you think are going to change their minds, they are not going to do that. In a Grand Cross, nobody wins. And so you have to decide, since you have free will, how destructive you want to let these people make you. Because as long as you're arguing with them, you've got a destructive attitude and so do they. Where does that get anybody? Nowhere. That's what a Grand Cross does. Nobody wins. But how about you take a turn and take a long distance trip? Go in a different direction. Educate yourself about something that you're always been interested in. Try that. You can do that. What if you've decided that you want to start something new and you don't need those people? You might have needed their money, but you don't need those people. Well, then start over, Leo. Aries is trining your sun all the time, and you've got the ruler of Aries in your sun sign. Okay, it's stirring you up a whole bunch right now, but there's a solar eclipse coming up in Aries this spring, just like there was last spring. You probably have some great idea that you had last spring, and I would drop whatever contentious situation you find yourself in and the people that go with it, and concentrate on some good idea that you had last spring and really dedicate yourself to making it come true by this spring. 2 solar eclipses trining your sun. It would be shameful if you didn't make a new start. The stars are with you. So what I'm saying is you don't have to win every argument. You don't have to win every battle. You got to win the war, kiddo. And for that, you've got to give up some things sometimes in order to get ahead yourself. And that's what's important. And every Leo knows it. So I hope you just listen to yourself right now. All right, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, yes, it's a tough week right now. And one of the reasons why it's a little tough to get through it, and why there can be people that are in so much debt right now, because they are past the point of no return. They've taken big gambles and they've lost, and they can't cover their bets, or they can't repay something, or they can't even repay the favors that they owe people. You know, they've lost. and so Virgos, first of all, are not big gamblers. They're pretty careful with money. Virgo rules banking, and it rules accounting. And it rules efficiency, and it rules occupations which are of service to others. Virgo rules the traditional 6th house of being of assistance to others. So Virgo's like that. You know, it's a mutable sign. They like getting along with a lot of different people. So what I'm suggesting is that even though there are 4 planets that are in a harsh T-cross in mutable signs right now, you should try to sort of stick to what you do best. And don't go beyond that. Just stick to what you do best right now, Virgo. Because Venus is the only planet in a cardinal sign, and it is in Capricorn, and it's trining your sun. So you need to tend to business. Capricorn rules our 10th house of career, our public reputation, and our long-term pension benefits. You need to stick to that because Venus is trining your sun right now. That'll do you a lot of good. So it's business first. And on top of that, Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun. It's under severe duress because it's in a fixed financial sign. But it's not hurting you, Virgo. So don't work into areas where angels fear to tread, Virgo. Stay out of something right now. And just go ahead and do the simple things that, that you know how to do and that you have confidence in yourself about, and stick to those. This would be a very good time for a Virgo to continue on with their daily habits. Not anything that's hurting your health, but things that really improve your health, since your sign does rule health. And so if you could get, it's a little hard to do right before Christmas when people sort of eat too much and, they party too much and have a good time. But your sign rules moderation. And if you could do things, if you could do what you want, but do it in moderation right now, you may do pretty well for yourself. And the reason why is that Saturn is in Pisces right now, but it has gone direct. It's no longer retrograde. Something from the past that has presented itself as sort of a cloud over your happiness, that cloud has either moved down or it's just about to. It's just about to dissipate and move on. And so you won't be under some sort of a heavy burden, a psychological burden or even a physical burden. That's going to lift a little bit now that Saturn is direct. Still opposing your sun, but it's direct. It actually is going to be moving out of Pisces next year. And so that will sort of draw you a little bit more into your future. And then Neptune, by March, is completely leaving Pisces. And that will take you out of dreamland completely and help you face reality, which Virgos are actually very good at. And so you have two great planets trining your sun right now, that Venus in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus are both trining your sun. And if I were you, I would stick to the known. And if you are around people who have taken big gambles, or if for some reason you'd be sort of an atypical Virgo, but if you've taken a big gamble, you would have lost. And then what you have to do is you have to figure out how to make a losing situation turn out better for you. In other words, reconcile yourself to a losing situation in one way or another in sort of an effort to get over it. Because Saturn is now direct and it's going to help you get over some worry or some cloud that's been hanging on to you, Virgo. And you'll be surprised, and particularly after March, when Neptune is not opposing your sun sign anymore, you will just see other people and situations much more clearly than, it's almost as if you've been in a little bit of a daze or a fog for about 12 years, because that's how long Neptune was in Pisces opposing your sun sign, and it's going to be leaving. And that's going to clear up something for you. Your vision will just be crystal clear when Neptune leaves Pisces. And that will really help you. So you have a lot to look forward to. All right, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, other people are going to have a real tough time this week. And somebody is past the point of no return. They have taken such a big gamble and they've lost so much that they can't repay the money, or they can't pay their debts, and they can't repay any favors. They're in trouble. But Libra, I don't think that's you. But I would say that you probably know that person. Or if you don't know that person, you know of them. It could be somebody on the world stage that's taken a big gamble and lost. And they can't, they're past the point of no return. They can't repay what they lost. And they can't even repay favors. We have this 5 planets and fixed signs in a grand cross. Nobody wins. Your sign is a cardinal sign. There's only one planet in a cardinal sign right now, and it is Venus in Capricorn, which is squaring your sun. And so, Libra, there can be somebody around who has a good reputation, or they've been working for a long time, or they have a good standing in the community. They may have won some awards or accolades. In other words, they're respectable, hard worker and respectable, and have a good track record. And that person can be getting attention right now, and you may be wondering why you're not getting any attention. But it depends on what kind of attention you're looking for, Libra, because there's something else coming your way. And believe it or not, even if it's not parked on your doorstep right now, it will be. And that is because Pluto has just gone into Aquarius, and it is now trining your sun. And Jupiter, which is retrograde in Gemini, is also trining your sun. Both of these planets are going to be trining your sun. And Jupiter won't leave till next summer, and Pluto isn't leaving for years. It'll go retrograde for a while, but basically it's going to be in Aquarius for many, many years to come and trining your sun. And that denotes people in upper management or in positions of power that will be attracted to you more and more, Libra. And you might just say to yourself, well, where are they? I don't see them. I don't know where they are. That's not the way they work, Libra. They're not going to come up and introduce themselves to you. What they will do instead is they will watch you and track what you're doing and admire you for it. And someday there will be a situation that is somewhat reciprocal. You might be where they are, or they might be where you are. You may be both involved in the same type of thing, and then they say hi, and you can say to yourself, "Oh, it's really nice that I just met you. I've always wanted to meet you," and you wouldn't know that they'd been tracking you for years. But that's the way Pluto works. Pluto rules Scorpio. It's a co-ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio rules the spy business, actually. Somebody pretty influential who admires you and knows who you are already, Libra. They're going to be just sort of coming around sort of slowly, and they are not the kind of person that's here today and gone tomorrow. They're not going to be a new best friend, okay? They're going to be somebody very influential in your life. And once you make a connection, and once, you know, you're on speaking terms, or you're meeting, or you're working together, or something like that, they will not ever leave you. If you were meeting somebody that's pretty interesting to you, and you were saying to yourself, even right now, "Oh, gee, I wish they were my friend." Okay, well, that might take years, Libra. But if they do become your friend, they'll never leave you. So I would say, don't look for instant success. Just remember that people in upper management, or who head their own companies, or have really good track records for achievement, they really know what they're doing. Or they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be where they are if they didn't know what they were doing. And so if they're just coming around little by little, well, let them. And don't force anything. Just play it cool, Libra. It's just that if you do make friends with somebody that's, you know, sort of slow but sure friendship, they'll never leave you. You will have a better friend than you've ever had. It's just going to take time. But isn't that what a lifelong friend is? Somebody that's with you through everything? That's someone who's headed your way, Libra. And just let it be. Let it be. It'll be fine on its own. Okay. What does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the only planet at the 29th degree of fate right now, Scorpio, is in your sign. It's the Sun at 29 degrees, which generally means something's on or over. Well, it's the Sun, the giver of life. Is it you, Scorpio? Is there something in your life that is either on, or is there something in your life that's over? Or is it both? It could be both. And maybe it was necessary for one thing to end before something else could start. And it might be that something had to end and heal before something new could begin. And you know, that takes a little while. And since the sun is at the 29th degree of fate in your sign today, Scorpio, I would say that you are on the verge of a new beginning. And one that is the right one. And it may involve a sharp contrast to something else that had already happened in your life that was the wrong one. And so that's important to note, because even if that person or that situation or that job or whatever it was is no longer in your life, you would know the difference. Because whoever's coming, or whoever that you're attracted to, or whoever you get along with pretty well, or you just like, they will be a sharp contrast to whoever else was around that wasn't right. You'll know the difference, Scorpio. You will know the difference. And it will delight you. But does that mean that that's the end of all your problems? Not right now, it doesn't. And that is, I mean, it could be the end of all your problems. It could be the end of some sort of deep unhappiness that you have kept inside of you for most of your life, Scorpio, and not told anybody about. And whoever you will be with, I think they'll know it without saying too much about it, and that'll be gone. And what you'll have is a much better person and a much better life for the rest of your life, long time. And this person will go into the future with you. They're not somebody from the past. In other words, they're not a fellow co-worker. They're not somebody in your neighborhood now. They might be there someday, but you will know the difference between what was wrong and who you meet that's right. You may know that now. You may not know that person, but you may know of that person and know that they are right for you, even if you haven't even met them yet. And so, in that way, the fact that your sign is a water sign and the water signs rule healing means that something that maybe you talked yourself into or kidded yourself about for years and that made you unhappy is truly over and done with forever and ever. And it's opening you up to the right thing. Or person, not thing, but person. And so that's coming up. You know, something's on or over. Well, if there's something over, you wave goodbye. It's okay, Scorpio. Let that go, because something better is coming. And Scorpio, it's a little closer than you think. In fact, you know, Scorpio, it's around you. It's around, even if you can't see it. And I don't mean it. I mean it's a person. But it's they're there. I don't know if they've introduced themselves to you or not yet, Scorpio, but they're there. Closer than you think. So that's good, because Mars and the Moon are in Leo, squaring your Sun, which means somebody can be sort of tearing you up emotionally, and you know, they like doing it. And that's not too good. Mars is squaring your Sun. Mars is your own ruler. Pluto is squaring your Sun from Aquarius. It too is your own ruler, but it's opposing that Mars and that Moon. And that means that somebody sort of is after a little piece of your hide, Scorpio. And don't give them the satisfaction. Turn your back on them. Don't acknowledge them at all. Even if they make you mad, don't let them know it. Okay? Because that's what they're looking for. So don't satisfy them, Scorpio. They're a thorn in your side. Just get out of there. Do not associate with these people at all. They are not good for you. And then Uranus in Taurus is opposing your Sun sign, which means you too can be subject to sudden financial fluctuation and change. But I would say that if you have not taken a gamble with anything, then you do not have to worry about being past the point of no return, except in a relationship that was really wrong almost to start with. Forget it. But the fact that Uranus is in Taurus, which is a fixed financial sign, opposing the sun in your sign, simply means that the value of your investments could fluctuate, and that could particularly involve some high-priced property, which is what Taurus rules. And and so if you want to sell something, you could. I would suggest that you do unload a little bit, simply to give yourself a little better cash position right now, Scorpio. And if you had a little better cash position and your future opens up, you'd have a little more cash to spend on that. And nothing wrong with having a little extra around in case you need it in the future, which I think you are going to need, for a nice reason, It would be nice, Scorpio, if you could sell something and just put that money away in a sock somewhere or under the mattress so you had it for something special that would represent your new happiness, because it would be coming your way. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, remember I said that there are planets that are backwards right now, and that is happening in your chart because Mercury is in your sign, but it rules Gemini. And Jupiter, your ruler, is in Gemini. And so these two planets are opposing the signs they rule. This can confuse you a little bit, Sagittarius, but not for long. And so it might mean that you get directions mixed up, or you get mixed messages about things. Okay, so you just sort of have to live with that, Sagittarius. But Mars and the Moon in Leo today are trining Mercury in your own sign. So you may be hearing from people who can sort of, either they're very upset emotionally, or they can upset you emotionally, because Mars is conjuncting the Moon, and the Moon rules our emotions. And so you have to be a little bit careful, Sagittarius, to step back from people who are trying to, they're sort of trying to stick pins in you right now. And they're only doing it for their own enjoyment. They don't care how that affects you at all, Sagittarius. They're just doing it for their own enjoyment because they're the kind of people that like to do that. And I would say that you should try to seek calmer waters, Sagittarius. Try to seek either a calmer place to be in, that would make you a little bit happier, or calmer people to be around in some way. Or if there is some area in your neighborhood or around you that sort of brings you a sense of belonging and of peace, then go for that, Sagittarius. That would be all right. Because the Moon conjuncting Mars in Leo and trining your Sun means that there are other people that are sort of all riled up right now, and they wouldn't mind riling you too. In fact, they wouldn't even consider that they were bothering you in any way. They were just thinking that, oh, well, everybody wants to listen to them. I don't think you do, Sagittarius. I don't think you want to listen to them. They're too off the... They don't exactly know what they're doing. And the thing that would bother a Sagittarian is that a Sagittarius is very high-minded. They not only have a good spiritual values, and intellectually they're very high-minded. And so you may think, oh, this is the Christmas season, I need to be kind to everybody, even the people that are driving me crazy. And I would say under these horrible aspects of 5 planets in the fixed signs all squaring and oppose each other, that means nobody wins an argument, so don't get in one. And just turn your back on other people, because there are also 4 planets in a harsh T-cross, and that involves your sign. Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your sign, and Jupiter in Gemini is opposing your sign. Mixed messages. That's what you could be getting from people. Now, what kind of mixed messages would they be? The kind of messages where they're talking about a certain thing, but their intent is to sort of stick the knife in, or make you uncomfortable. So they could be saying, oh, I'm just talking about the facts here, but they want to do it in a way that makes you uncomfortable or makes more work for you. And so you have to just step back. You also need to tell people you're just too busy, Sagittarius. I'm sorry, I can't do that, I'm too busy. You can just say, well, it's the holidays. I'm real busy during the holidays. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And mean it, Sagittarius. You would be happier by yourself than with people that are trying to stick pins in you. So don't fall for that bait. You're worth, you know, Christmas means peace on earth, and you're worth it. So go for that instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, with Venus still in your sign. And it's the only planet in a cardinal sign right now. So there's nothing in other cardinal signs to square or oppose it. And that means, Capricorn, that either you're about to get some very good news, or you've already got it, or it can be that whatever you've been working on for a while has reached a point of culmination or a point of completion. Even if you were in school and taking a certain course, you'd be done with that now. You would have mastered whatever you were trying to learn. You could do just fine right now, Capricorn. There is also the possibility with Uranus and Taurus trining your sun right now, even though it is under severe duress, because Taurus is a fixed financial sign. There could be some more money around for you, or it could be just that the value of your investments has gone up a little bit. It's somewhat surprisingly, but that could please you very much, Capricorn. So I think that this is a time for you, as we are entering the holidays, when you can be sort of contemplating peace on earth, or something that's going okay in your life. And it doesn't mean that everything is going okay in other people's lives, okay? There's 5 planets in Grand Cross and fixed signs. Take it from me, Capricorn. There are people that are past the point of no return, and nothing can help them. And on top of that, they asked for it, okay? They were the big spenders. So now they can't repay their debts. They took a gamble and they lost. They can't even repay favors. They're just past the point of no return. You can't help somebody who never wanted to help themselves, except in a somewhat greedy way. It can be that greed has consumed them, and they can't get away from that right now. So everybody has to sort of face their own problems, particularly if they made the problems. I'm not talking about the kind of problems that other people make that involve you. Or you go to work and something happens at work and you didn't cause it, but you're involved because you're at work. I'm not talking about those kind of problems. I'm talking about the problems that some people have that they asked for, and that they just gambled on, and they just sort of went wild, and they have nothing to show for it. They are past the point of no return. They can't even repay the debt, or they can't repay the favors. They're done. It doesn't mean that they're done physically. It means that as far as their reputation goes, as far as their finances go, they're done. And you're not in that boat, Capricorn. You've got some sort of stable foundation underneath you. Or you've got some security that you know you've got for a long time to come. Capricorns are sort of security prone. They would have that somewhere. And right now with Venus in your sign, I think that you can be enjoying that. So I think you're going to have a much better holiday than you're anticipating right now, Capricorn. And the reason why is because on December 30th, there is a second new moon in your sign this year. That will probably never happen again in your lifetime, but it's happening this year. Excuse me. So you have some very good news coming to you. It might be coming now, but if not, you'll have it by the end of December. You'll have that good news. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Pardon me, I have a little cold. Well, Aquarius, Pluto has just come into your sign. That ought to be a wonderful piece of news for you, because it's going to make you more and more powerful as the years go on. And it's being trined by Jupiter in Gemini. Even though Jupiter's retrograde, that's a pretty strong trine from a very good planet. And Jupiter will stay trining Pluto in your sign until next summer, when then it will go into Cancer. But while that's going on, Aquarius, your life is due to expand. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and Pluto is a planet of power. And they both trine the sign of Libra, which rules partnership. So one good way that your life is going to expand, Aquarius, is through partnership. And it can also be through legal dealings. Even if you were head of something and you didn't have a partner, if you're doing business, some of the people you do business with could be partners in one way or another. That would be just fine. It also can be that you will be forming new partnerships in the future, slowly but surely, in sort of a quiet, methodical way, because Pluto is the co-ruler of Scorpio, and that's how Scorpios work. They're real careful about what they do, and they're very disciplined. And so, Aquarius, even if you went in a brand new direction, you would be doing it in a little different way than you'd ever done it before. And you would certainly benefit between now and next summer, because Jupiter will be backing up your sign the whole time, which is really good. Okay, so I gave you the good news first, Aquarius. Oh, but there's another side to things, particularly in this week, this coming week, because Mars and the Moon in Leo are opposing that Pluto in your sign, and Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, meaning there's a financial situation that either has not worked out to your benefit, and it could also be looking as if it's not going to work out to your benefit. And you could be frustrated by that, particularly since the Sun in Scorpio is also squaring your Sun. It's at the 29th degree of fate in Scorpio. Either there's more money coming your way, Aquarius, or there's not. Okay, it sort of depends on what your debt situation is. If you don't have any debt, there will be more money coming your way. That will be great for you. If you do have debt and more money comes your way, probably using that to pay off the debt, that would be a good use of that money, because debt is what is pushing people beyond the point of no return. And you don't want to be in a situation like that. And then Uranus in Taurus is squaring your Sun where you have Pluto, and that means you are continually subject to sudden surprising change, particularly in the value of your investments. Well, okay, you just got to live with that. But the value of your investments might be going up briefly right now, and I mean very briefly. If you are thinking that you are going to take a gamble and something's going to go higher and higher and higher, it isn't, Aquarius. It isn't going to do that. Don't gamble on that. If you have invested in something and it's already gone higher and higher, you might want to sell it while you can and just put the money in your pocket. You can always reinvest later, but I wouldn't wait for it to get a whole lot better. It would be much better for you to have the money in your pocket than for you to be anticipating that it will come someday. Well, you don't know that, and there are 5 planets in the fixed signs, all squaring and opposing each other, and that means no winners. So I would get out of the betting game in every way that you can, Aquarius, and keep your hands on your own money. You can always get back in later on, but this is not the time for anybody to take a gamble, because those who have taken big gambles are past the point of no return. They can't recoup their losses. All I'm suggesting, Aquarius, is that with Jupiter trining your Sun and Pluto now in your Sun sign, do not stay so long at the fair that you incur a loss. Not if you can just take your profit and go. You can always get back in later, but I take the money while you can. And enjoy it. Christmas is coming. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when something is changing in your life, very definitely. And I don't know if I'm describing this accurately, so I'll tell you what it seems to look like. There is a planet in your sign that's been in your sign for about 1.5 years, and it just changed directions. It's Saturn, the planet of time. And Saturn rules Capricorn, which rules your 10th house of career, your public reputation, and your long-term security. And so that Saturn in your sign, Pisces, just went direct. And that means, for one thing, that it's sort of heading on out. It's a slow mover. It'll be there about another year. but it's heading on out. And the fact that it's direct, Pisces, means that something that you have been thinking about, or that you've been wanting to do, or that had been delayed, or didn't work out before, that's changed now. Okay, so that's changed. So if you've been doing something like sitting on the fence for a very long time, Pisces, that's over. Saturn is direct. When planets are direct, they're only going in one direction, and that's forward. And even a slow mover like Saturn is going forward. And that means that you're going to as well, Pisces. And also, Neptune is going to go direct. I think it goes direct next month. And then it's heading completely out of your sign, where it's been for 12 years. You're going to miss that, Pisces. But it's going to go out of in your sign by March. And into Aries. It acts completely different in Aries than it did in your own sign. And so, Pisces, something that had been holding you up, whether you were just in a lot of doubt and so you were holding yourself up, or whether the conditions just weren't right, or the money wasn't right, or your own doubts and fears, because your sign rules the 12th house of hidden doubts and fears. And something had been holding you back, Pisces. And now that Saturn has gone direct in your sign, it's not doing that anymore. Now, why not? Well, if it was your hidden doubts and fears, maybe you don't have those so much anymore. I mean, where'd they go? I don't know. Maybe you just grew out of them. Maybe you're just not afraid of something anymore, or you're not doubtful about anything anymore. Maybe you know more, and because you know more, you're not hesitant about anything anymore. Now that Saturn is direct, Pisces, I think you are much more sure of what you want to do. And it's not something real new. It's something you've already been thinking about, or it's something that you wish you'd done before even. I mean, but you can do it now. So something has really changed in your life. I know that this is a little strange when I'm talking about changes just because a planet changed direction, and particularly a slow planet that changed direction. But Saturn rules results, okay? Proven results. And if you'd been hesitant or unsure or a little bit vague, maybe you didn't know enough about something before, all that is past. I'm sure that you're much more convinced that you know what you're doing now, or you know what's right for you, or you know who's right for you. The difference between Saturn being retrograde and Saturn being direct is that you don't have any more doubt. Okay? There's no more. Saturn rules doubt. Well, maybe when it was going retrograde you were doubtful about something, but it's direct now and there's no more doubt. You're going to go forward, Pisces. If you were making excuses about why you couldn't, take another look around. Where'd all those excuses go to? They're gone. You're going to go forward anyway. And so that's good, because there are still 4 planets in the mutable signs, and yours is a mutable sign, and they're all squaring and opposing each other. This means you don't have any opposition because there's nothing in Virgo, but this means that Jupiter in Gemini is squaring Saturn and Neptune in your sign, and so is Mercury in Sagittarius. There could be a mix-up on news that has to do with other people in foreign countries, or trips you want to take, or college news of some sort. There could be sort of a mix-up about that, but not for long. I mean, and also you could be actually, Pisces, since yours is a double-bodied sign, and there's only 3 double-bodied signs. Yours is one of them, Pisces, and guess what? Gemini is one, and so is Sagittarius, where these rulers are backwards. So something in your planning is going a little bit backwards. It'll straighten itself out, though, Pisces, mainly because you have no more doubt. Pisces don't have big egos. You know, they know what they're doing, but they don't push themselves on people. They don't order people around. They're not blowhards at all. Pisces are pretty nice people, and so you know, if you were holding back because you were in doubt about something, Pisces, you wake up and smell the coffee. It's you, Pisces, that is not in doubt anymore. Saturn is direct. It's moving right along. And you're going to move with it. And so if there had been any kind of doubt or delay, it's over. And so even if there are mixed messages around, that won't last for too much longer. But there could be mixed messages around now, Pisces. I would say check everything again and again, just in case your messages are mixed up a little bit. But in the end, you are much more in control now than you have been for a long time. Part of it is that the sun in Scorpio is at the 29th degree and it is trining your sun, where Saturn is now direct. It might be, Pisces, that there's some more money around somewhere that does make a dream come true now. That does make it possible. It would be one that you had doubts about. But the doubts may not have been about whoever else that involves. The doubts may have been about yourself. And take another look in the mirror, Pisces. You don't have those doubts anymore. So good luck. Have a nice Christmas. I think it's going to be a little nicer than you thought it would be. In a quiet way. It'll be a quiet way. And you know, Pisces, sometimes that's how happiness comes to us. Sort of creeps up on us when we're not looking. And that's nice. Because then you can enjoy it quietly in your heart. And not even let people know how precious it is to you. For a Pisces, what they have in their heart is like jewels, but it's precious jewels. They don't display that too much, but they have it. I think Christmas is going to be a little better than you think, Pisces. Good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry this went a little bit long. It's going to be a rough week, folks. Try not to aggravate anybody and just take care of yourselves. I've already written the script for the following week, and it's actually a much better script. So let's just get through hard times right now. And if you know of anybody who's taken a big gamble and they are past the point of no return, try to remember they did it to themselves. There wasn't a way to stop it. They just did it because they wanted to. So they can pay for it. They'll have to, if they can. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you right here next week. Bye.